Hello, church family. Happy Friday. I am bringing you a word of encouragement today from the book of Esther. And the book of Esther has a lot of festivals and banquets and celebrations in it, so I thought it was appropriate for this week. We just finished Memorial Day, and Memorial Day is remembering and celebrating those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom, for our safety, for our protection. And that is a great holiday. There are some holidays that we have that are kind of silly or just for fun, Donut Day or Arbor Day or things like that. But we do have some good ones that we celebrate for good reasons. And that is the case in the book of Esther. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of background on the book of Esther. Esther opens up with King Xerxes, and King Xerxes is looking for a new queen because Queen Vashti has left him not so gracefully. And so he's on the search for a new queen, and a bunch of young ladies are being brought to him, and he likes Esther. And he doesn't know that Esther's background is that she's actually Jewish. And Esther has a cousin, Mordecai, who is outside the kingdom, and Mordecai gets into an issue with the bad guy Haman and makes him mad, and now Haman is out to kill Mordecai and all the other Jewish people. And so Mordecai goes to talk to Esther, who is in this position that God has placed her in and has an opportunity to save her people. So I'm going to read for you some verses from the book of Esther. This is chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. For if you remain silent at this time, this is Mordecai talking to Esther. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Very famous verse, for such a time as this, right there. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. Wow. What an amazing attitude that Esther has, that she's willing to risk her life to go and talk to the king. And if the king didn't want to hear from her, he could just kill her if he wanted to. But Esther is willing to risk that. And Mordecai challenged her with that. And of course, the story ends well. Esther is able to save all the Jewish people. And out of that, the Jewish people have a festival of Purim where they tell the story of Esther. They celebrate together. And they also have an opportunity not only to tell the story of Esther, but to reflect on their own lives and where God has placed them and how God might use them in that place, in that time, for such a time as this, to glorify him. So I feel like we have an opportunity as well to consider what God has for us. God has placed us in this time where we're going through this quarantine time. It's different than anything the history has ever experienced before. And maybe God has us placed in such a time as this to be able to share his word and to glorify him. Now, today's Fasting Friday. This is the last Friday in May. So this is the last opportunity, not that you can't fast at another time, but our last official Fasting Friday as a church family. And maybe there is someone that God has placed in your life that is open, more open maybe than they have ever been before. Maybe God has placed you for such a time as this in this person's life to be able to share the hope of Jesus with them. So as you're fasting today and praying, pray for that person and an open door. You can share the video that we have out there or have a conversation with them, but pray for them, pray about sharing the hope of Jesus, or maybe it's something completely different. But for such a time as this, what has God given you, or what place has he put you in, and what opportunities do you have in front of you that can glorify God? So I hope you enjoy your weekend. Have a great Friday, church.